Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Patrick Lee. It's time for Midweek Motivation Live here at 10 o'clock on a lovely, lovely, is it lovely? It's a cold and blustery winter day here in Amarillo, Texas. Today we're going to be talking about courage, our topic of the week, courage, why you need it and how to get it. Yeah, it's freezing outside right now in the low 30s. We had a light snow coming down this morning, but hey, it's December in Amarillo, Texas. It's not always 110 degrees like a lot of people think. In Texas, it's always hot. We live in what's like called a high desert, and we have cactus and roadrunners and caliche mud and sagebrush, right? And we live in cowboy and Indian country. Only the cowboys, most of the cowboys you see around here are driving King Ranch pickups or Dodge Rams. And anyway, they're not on horseback all the time, riding up and down the streets with covered wagons. And I haven't seen any shootouts between cowboys and Indians in a long time, at least a couple of years. Anyway, I've been here 30 years. One of the good things about Amarillo, Texas, you still will see cowboys out on their horses from time to time. We have a local Dairy Queen not too far from here on the interstate. And every few days you show up at Dairy Queen, if you drive by, there will be a whole bunch of horses hitched up outside. And that's always exciting to see. And driving up and down the roads, you see a lot of horses. We have a lot of horses, a lot of cattle. We're in one of the largest cattle raising areas in the nation right here in the Panhandle of Texas. So anyway, hey, a lot of the people that settled this place, very courageous. Watch that. Hey, that was a great little segue, wasn't it? Courage that won the Texas area and settled this. And then the people that turned this into a town. Good morning, Ross. Good morning, Sal. Other people tuning in, right? Yeah, Ross says it's cold here in Colorado too. Good to see people tuning in already. Talking about courage today. I was talking to some people on the phone just a minute ago, and they said, "Oh yes, it starts in a minute. I'm going to be tuning in. I'm going to put you on speakerphone in the office." I love that. Courage, courage, courage. Why is it important? And this is actually an article I read by John Maxwell. Many of you know who John Maxwell is. One of the number one motivational speakers and teachers in the nation. Many times, best-selling author. Millions of copies of his books sold. I've read many of them. John Maxwell books are some of the best on any successful person's list of reading. I'm going to adjust the camera here just a little bit. Y'all like my purple shirt? It's winter. I'm going with a few darker colors here for a while. I've got on my purple shirt. Purple's the color of royalty, right? So you may call me King Patrick today. Anyway, I'm just joking. Good to see everyone on here tuning in from all over. Yes, talking about courage. Why is it important? Why is it important, and why do you need it? I think it's vitally important as we go through life. I want to tell you a little story about a man named Eddie Rickenbacker. Some of you that are musicians may say the only person I know named Rickenbacker invented a guitar. Different guy. Eddie Rickenbacker was born 100 years ago, and that's why many of you have never heard of him. Eddie Rickenbacker went on to become one of the most underrated and underreported heroes in American history. He was an auto racer when he was young. He set the world speed record at Daytona in 1914. That's when they were just starting to race cars. They just said, go fast. And they said, okay, let's go fast. So he set a world speed record at Daytona. Then he went on in World War I. He recorded the highest number of aerial victories against the Germans. Then in World War II, he served as a special advisor to the Secretary of War, survived a plane crash over the Pacific Ocean, spent 22 days floating on a raft in the Pacific Ocean before he was saved. Can you imagine the courage it took to do that? Some might say that's not courage. He's simply a victim, right? That's a different mentality. A lot of people have a victim mentality. What do you mean he was courageous? He got shot down. No, He instead of giving up and succumbing to the ocean, he stayed alive 22 days floating on a raft. Rising to a challenge was never a big problem for Rickenbacker, whether it was physical, mental, or economic. When he was 12, his father died. He quit school to become the family's primary breadwinner. His eventual prowess as a fighter pilot caused the press to dub him the American Ace of Aces. When asked about his steeliness in combat, he admitted that he had been afraid and said, "Courage is doing what you're afraid to do. There can be no courage unless you're scared." One of you, some of you may have that thought going through your head right now. You know, I have tried to live courageous in the past. I've tried to rise up and do great things. I've always been shut down. I've been slapped down. I've been knocked down. Or in some of you may say, before I could even get started, fear rose up within me. I was too afraid to step out on my own, so I just didn't do it. John Wayne says, "Do it afraid." That's one of my favorite quotes. I think I actually put it in here. "Do it afraid" by John Wayne. There can be no courage without fear. Doing things that are in your comfort zone don't require a whole lot of courage, do they? Doing things that are comfortable to you or just seemingly not hard to do don't take any amount of courage to do. Well, we've got 4 tips, 4 points about courage that I got from this teaching by John Maxwell. Number one, the number one thing we want to learn about or know about courage. Excuse me, drink a little coffee here. Roaster's coffee in the Yeti cup, blistering hot, I may add. I usually give y'all a little description of the Roaster's, my favorite coffee place here in Illinois, owned by Craig, great guy, local independent businessman, very courageous, went out on his own. He's very outspoken about his lifestyle, his beliefs, the things that he's involved in. He's a race car driver also. Probably hasn't won any, set any records at Daytona like Eddie Rickenbacker, but he set some records of his own, I'm sure. This particular cup was a gift to me by some clients. I think Daniel and Janet Ramos gave me this particular Yeti cup. I've got a few of those, and this one happens to be my favorite. It's banged up. It's dented on the bottom. I've used it now for years. Helped that couple sell a home and buy some land, and they turned around and built a big fancy home. They went out in business on their own. Very courageous couple. Wow, this just turns into a testimonial for Daniel and Janet Ramos, because it talks about the thing that our topic today, courage. They had an air conditioning business, and they don't even know I'm talking about them right now. They had an air conditioning business. Daniel started his air conditioning company after working for another company. Dead air, man. What are you talking about, Cody? Mr. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, they started y'all can't hear me, right? So Cody's just kidding with me. Okay. Daniel started his air conditioning company called Daniel's Heating and Air, hired a coach, like I talked to you many times about hiring a coach, and changed the name of his company to Snow Bear Heating and Air, and rebranded, totally relaunched the company. Is doing phenomenal. His business has gone through the roof, and he just went out and did it. I'm just super proud of them. And then he started becoming blessed and wanted to do more for other people. And now they go to the nation of Belize every year on missions trips, and they go down and install heating and air conditioning systems into schools and clinics and places to help the poor. They also take a whole team of dental hygienists down there, and they do free dental work for children and people in the nation of Belize. That's just, to me, that's courageous, man. My hat is off to those people. Very courageous. So I appreciate them. One of the things, topic number one, we're going to talk about these 4 topics that have to do with courage. The number one point I want to make today: courage begins with an inward battle or a test. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over that fear. That's a quote by Nelson Mandela, who spent many, many, many years in prison as a political prisoner. Courage begins with an inward battle. Every test you face as a leader begins within inside of you. The test of psychotherapist Sheldon Kopp stated, all the significant battles are waged within one's self. Courage isn't an absence of fear. It's doing what you're afraid to do, having the power to let go of the familiar and forge ahead into new territory. That was true for Eddie Rickenbacker as well, and it can be true for you as well. Number 2, courage is making things right, not just smoothing things over. How many of you, by a show of hands, a like, a love, a comment, how many of you in the past have had situations that have arisen and they have been scary to deal with, and instead of confronting them, you just smoothed it over? Maybe it was a relationship between 2 other friends of yours, and you just said, you know what, it's none of my business. I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm gonna smooth it over and make sure they're okay with me. But at the end of the day, you know, what they do is up to them. Courage, I would challenge you on that and say courage is making things right, not just smoothing things over. There are many times that maybe you have been offended or you have offended someone else. You have done things wrong in business or in your life, in your relationships, maybe with your spouse, with a parent or a child. And instead of making things right, when you knew something was not done correctly, you just attempted to smooth it over so they would be okay with your wrongdoing. I would challenge, or you are just going to be okay with their wrongdoing. That's another thing that I would challenge you on. Sometimes it's good to confront the things that have gone wrong. I'm going to throw this down in the ticker beneath the comment. Courage is making things right, not just smoothing things over, right? Sometimes it's good to confront the things that have gone wrong. With yourself or with others, and settle them either through apology or forgiveness. Sometimes you need to apologize to someone else. Sometimes maybe they need to apologize to you. But if you feel like you need to go and apologize to someone, that's something that I would challenge you to go do. Just smoothing things over doesn't make them right. And it doesn't take any courage of you to not make things right. Just smoothing something over to where you can live with yourself or you can live with someone else for what they have done with you does not take courage. I would actually challenge anyone that thinks that that is. What that does end up doing is it causes something that you suppress and you hold it deep down inside. And suppressed feelings like those can come out and manifest in your body in many other ways, right? It can make you sick. It can make you mentally ill. It can make you physically ill. It can lead to seasons or outbursts of anger. It can cause, hives. It can cause shingles. I came down with shingles years ago, and I went to the doctor and had no idea what shingles were or how you could get them or what it was. But I thought my sides were on fire and someone was stabbing me in the back, right? Exactly. Ross just said, Ross, I'm going to throw this up on the screen. Last week I had to buy a $600 tool to fix something that wasn't necessarily my fault because it was the right thing to do in the situation, right? Sometimes it's just you've got to do the right thing. As a realtor, I have a real estate company, the Patrick Lee Group. You can see my ticker. My advertisement is actually usually always on the screen. Patrick Lee Group, motivating you to success in every area of life. So if people see me on screen and they go, oh, that's Patrick Lee. Well, other people that I do business with, they're like, yeah, you're my realtor. There are things that happen in the real estate world that I have to pay for. Doesn't happen often, but there are things that happen with other people. Sometimes it's a vendor, sometimes it's the buyer or the seller. Things go wrong. Things are perceived incorrectly, and usually that's because of a lack of communication or someone digging in their heels and saying, I'm not going to do the right thing. And as a leader, I just step in and do the right thing. And I say, you know what? I'm going to pay for that. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to choose to do the right thing, even if it's not my responsibility. And you don't want to know why? Because it's always a leader's responsibility to do the right thing. If it's to be, it's up to me. Okay. Courage is making things right, not just smoothing them over. Sometimes you need to go to that person and say, hey, what you did isn't right. And I'm going to accept that what you did isn't right. But I want you to know that I know, and you know that this wasn't right. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to make it right. And if you choose not to, I'm going to do the right thing. That's okay to do. That doesn't make you a bad person or a big meanie. You're not a mean guy. You're just the person that's going to rise up. You're going to be courageous, and you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to call out things that I don't correct. But on the other side of that, whenever I have done something wrong, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to apologize, or I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to make it right. It takes courage to do that, because you're doing it a little bit of afraid. You know what I mean? You may not think you have the courage to stand up and do that, but once you have, you would be amazed at how much courage rises up within you. Some people talk to others about courage, and they always want to make the comment about, the mother bear rising up, or how the chicken protects her baby chicks, especially children. And you may think that person is very docile, weak, cowed down, but if you challenge her or threaten someone that she loves, then that courage wells up, rises up within her, and they want to go and protect someone who has been wronged. That is the same kind of courage that has to rise up within us as people to go out and confront things that are incorrect and make things right. Do it afraid. Sometimes it's good to confront the things that have gone wrong. Number 3, courage. Courage in a leader inspires commitment from your followers. Courage is contagious, Billy Graham said. Billy Graham was one of the greatest evangelists and pastors. He was called America's pastor for decades, for a couple of generations. He was the pastor to many of the presidents in our great nation. And his son, Franklin Graham, has taken over now and runs the Graham organization in Samaritan's Purse, goes into third world countries and helps the sick. Was actually the person that donated the mobile hospitals in Central Park in New York City when the coronavirus first kicked off. Many of you remember that. Franklin Graham stepped up, and they donated that at their own expense to set up all of those medical facilities. But his father, the great Billy Graham, said courage is contagious. When a brave man takes a stand, the spines of others are stiffened. That's one of the things that's happening right now with the pastor of our church, Brian Gibson. Pastor of his church, our organization, has been traveling all over the nation, standing up for the rights of Christians and the church. He started peaceablygather.com and now is traveling to many state capitals. He's preached on the steps of our courthouse here, and from the courthouse nearly to the White House. He has been in Chicago, Florida, Arizona, Kentucky, Washington, D.C., over the last few months, traveling and speaking for the rights of people. When a brave man confronts the things that are going wrong, he sees the things that are going wrong, he has to stand up for what he believes is right, have the courage to put down that inner man and say, no, I'm not going to live cowed down. I'm going to stand up for what's right. Pastor Brian is one of those people. He has been traveling all over the country, speaking for those that can't speak for themselves. It makes people want to follow them. One of the quotes I love that goes along with this, Jim Mulatto explains, leadership is the expression of courage that compels people to do the right thing. That's a good one right there, Jim Mulatto. The expression of courage that compels people to do the right thing. Many times in life, we are afraid to take a step, the next step, maybe in our business. We feel fear or apprehension when it comes to expanding our business, going after new business. In the real estate world, one of the hardest things to get new agents to do is pick up the phone and call people. And they say, well, I don't have any clients. I'm like, have you called anybody? And they go, what do you mean? People don't want me to just call them. I'm going to sound like a telemarketer. I'm like, oh, really? Do all of your family and friends know that you're even a realtor yet? And they're like, well, I think so. I've got my license and I made a Facebook post. I'm like, okay. Have you called everybody in your phone and said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, hey, I'm a realtor now. I've got my license. I'm so excited about my new career. And if you have anyone, if you or anyone you know is interested in buying a home or selling a home or investing in real estate, I'm your guy. I'm I'm your lady. I work with a team of great agents, and we're going to put all of our resources to work at making sure you have a great experience buying or selling a home. And you'd be surprised at how many people are afraid to call a family member or a friend that loves them and would love to do business with them because they're afraid of picking up the phone. They're like, I don't like calling on the phone. That's fear. All that is fear welling up inside of you. And you have to be able to hit that fear head on and that call reluctance. So call reluctance is one of the number one things that will cause people that get their real estate license to quit real estate and go back and get a regular 9 to 5 job or a 3 to 8 job or a 10 at night till 6 in the morning job for a measly paycheck instead of doing the thing that they wanted to do, because that fear, it just takes them out, man. It takes them out. Maybe it's your restaurant, it's your counseling business, it's whatever it is. And you're afraid to take that next step. Maybe people won't like the color I decide to paint my building, or people won't like my new logo, or people won't want my services. Don't let fear take you out of the game before you even get started, man. Don't do it. Courage, you have leadership inside of you. I know that you do. I believe in you. You come back every week and listen to me, and I'm preaching it into you every week. So I know you've got to have something in you. Or what am I doing this for? I believe in you guys, man. Every one of you that tunes in and watches the show. I love it. I love it. I love it. I believe in you guys. So leadership is the expression of courage that compels people to do the right thing. How many times have you been in a situation to where someone you know or love is being attacked, and you know that you need to jump in and help defend that person? I've been guilty of doing that as well. That is courage rising up over fear. When it's time for you to take a stand for your business, your life, your family, your friends, your relationships, that is courage taking the place of fear. Do it afraid anyway. And then number 4, I want to talk about the last topic here is your life expands and contracts in proportion to your courage. What in the world does that mean, Patrick? Fear limits a leader, but courage has the opposite effect. It opens doors. It's one of the most wonderful benefits. Courage opens doors for you. When you stand up and do the right thing, people notice. Maybe it's only the person you are involved with that you made things right with, but that person is going to notice. They're going to have a higher opinion of you. They're probably going to refer you if the situation was made right instead of just smoothed over like we talked about in topic number 2. When you stand up and do the right thing, you automatically become larger in the eyes of the other person involved. And they call it being the larger person for that reason. Many people don't understand what that means. Well, I'm here to tell you. When you do the right thing, when you stand up for right, when you take a stand and speak out against injustice, when you go to fight for somebody, when you go to war for somebody, you become bigger in the eyes of the other people because you have risen above. You're taller. You stand taller in a crowd. Your posture comes in you become larger by exercising courage. On the other side of that coin, when you always take the easy way out, the coward's way out, you choose to walk in fear, your shoulders droop, you hunch down, you're afraid to speak out because you don't want to offend anybody. You start living a small life. Your life contracts instead of expanding. Life does have to, our bodies, our chest, we have to breathe in and breathe out, right? You can't always just breathe in. It doesn't work that way. On the other, breathing out what's inside of you. I had a little camera glitch. That was funny. Went black for a second. But life is about reciprocity. We talk about that, the law, all the time. You get back what you give out. But when you start growing and exercising in courage, your life expands. And as you exercise this courage, your life expands, your confidence increases, you do become a larger than life person. All of those things that you are courageous in continue to come back to you. The people that you are courageous with, the people that you help motivate and lead and help, all of those things come back again. Dead air again. Y'all let me know, post some other comments on here. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, give me another comment. I don't know where these little dead air sessions or little pieces are coming from, possibly from internet connection. I'm not sure. But if y'all can hear me, give me a like or love. Oh man, not here. Let's see what we've got here on audio. We are connected. Can y'all hear me now? Something just happened outside and it was a big strong wind. It may have taken me out for a moment. You can hear me now. Awesome. Good deal. We're back. Woohoo! That's always good to know. But anyway, yes, we do need to finish up here. Your life expands or contracts in proportion to your courage. When you start exercising the courage sorry, that's okay. Just neat comments. That's awesome. When you start exercising courage, your life is going to get bigger. Your confidence is going to get stronger. You're going to walk a little taller in the crowd. You're going to have confidence is going to begin to exude or flow from you. This one quote I'm going to give with you says, "Fear not that your life will come to an end, but that it will never have a beginning." That was from British theologian John Henry Newman. Fear not that your life will come to an end, but fear rather that it will never have happened. What would happen to you if you simply did not exercise any courage? What in your life, what good things in your life do you think would happen? And if anything good happened to you, would it be intentional or would it simply be by accident? Would you rather live a life of courage, a life of going out and attacking the things that you want in life, doing the things that you want to do, standing up for the people that can't stand up for themselves, living a life of abundance, of confidence, of blessing, or would you rather live a life of fear, of smallness? You can hear me, Brotato Chip. Awesome. Good deal. So would you rather live a life of abundance? Would you rather live a life without fear? That would be a life, it's going to be almost impossible to live without fear at all. I'm on the 18th floor in the building. I have a great view up here. And one of the things that will cause you to have a little bit of a check in your heart is every now and then, like this morning, when the wind blows really strong and this whole building moves. This is a 31 floor building. And every now and then when the wind blows, the building moves. And you're like, whoa, what's that? But hey, it's all right, man. I choose not to live in fear. I come up to the 18th floor every day. And when this building starts rocking, we just start dancing. We're like, hey, let's have a party in here. It's all good. I don't choose to live in fear, and I don't want you to live in fear either. Quote going across the bottom of the screen: courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. My challenge to you today is get out of your comfort zone. Start going after the things that you want in life. Start taking care of the situations in life where you may have done something wrong, and go and make those things right. And you're going to be more courageous when you have taken care of those things. Mend relationships. Call out things that are not right and fix them. If it's, like I said before, if it's by you having to go and apologize to somebody, or you going to someone else and saying, you have done me wrong, I'm going to choose to forgive you for me so I can walk on in life. And those, when you start activating all of these courageous things in your life, you're going to see your life become more abundant. You're going to walk taller. You're going to have more of a skip in your step, and you're going to be perceived as a better person, a bigger, better person by those around you. And perceived reality by others is actually almost the same as reality. That's my tip the day. I want to challenge all of you to be more courageous in your life, in your walk, how you act, do the right things. I will see you next week. This has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. You guys